Bhikkhunis will talk a little bit about where they were born, how they came to Dharma Realm Buddhist Association, and the current work that they do. So first I'm going to invite Dharma Master Hung Yin.
Venerables and all friends, good morning. My name is Han Yin, and I'm an American-born Chinese. I grew up in Texas and Maryland, and I was a computer science major, and I entered the PhD program in computer science. But at that time, I was having a very, although I had a wonderful family, I had a wonderful education, economically was well off, and could do everything that, I mean, the future looked promising if from an ordinary point of view, but I felt a sense of hollowness because the material things could not satisfy, and even friends and affection and so forth were not enough because somehow it felt very limiting because I saw there was a lot of suffering and problems in the world. So I went towards religion. I had friends who were Christians, and my family was agnostic, so I went to Bible studies and I went to church. I enjoyed and learned a lot, and especially when I was traveling in South America and Europe, I went to cathedrals and really enjoyed the liturgies there. But it wasn't until I encountered my teacher, Master Hua, and his Sangha of monks and nuns that I really felt I had found what I was searching for, which was a way to understand myself and my own mind, because I felt that any problems we had due to misunderstandings or relationships was because other people didn't understand me. But I also knew that that was not to blame, because I couldn't even understand why I changed my moods all the time, changed my mind all the time, and woke up feeling different every day, and sometimes afflicted a lot, even coming from such a fortunate and privileged background. So when I met the Sangha, I heard the Dharma, and learned about the Buddha, it opened up the idea that all the problems that are in the world, whether in my own personal surroundings or even back then, you know, we also had a lot of problems: AIDS, hunger, the Iran hostage crisis. I remember praying to God every night, hoping the hostages could be released. And all these things, I felt like a tiny individual that could do nothing until I learned Buddhism, and I realized that by changing ourselves, we could make a real difference in the world. But if we don't change ourselves from within, then any kind of, you know, social activism, it will still only reach to a certain point, but it will still perhaps leave us feeling exhausted and hollow to some extent as well, and not ever understanding a lot of our own internal workings. And Master Hua, he came to our university with his Sangha to give a talk and meditation retreat. And meditation was wonderful. I really didn't know much, but I felt that was one of the things that drew me first to Buddhism. And although our master was, you know, an eminent teacher, and even people thought he had special powers, I went there and he talked about the most simple, down-to-earth things, like being kind and respectful to your parents. He, as a child, was to apologize for being a naughty, mischievous child that caused his parents grief. He would bow to his parents every day, and he bowed to all living beings, day and night, hours and hours, and And through this hidden practice, he created affinities with living beings. And this was really mind-opening to me, that it's not the normal rat race. Go out and show how great you are and strive for success. It's more cultivating on your own, not seeking recognition, but yet making a really deep difference. So I was I gave up my fellowship at fully paid fellowship in graduate school, and I asked my parents and got their permission and blessing to come to the city of 10,000 Buddhas to attend Dharma Realm Buddhist University. And soon after that, I decided that the Dharma is incredibly meaningful, and it takes a lifetime, full-time commitment to really get the benefit out of it in a way that's profoundly transforming. And that's what I wanted to do. I could not think of anything more meaningful. And in fact, I had been studying artificial intelligence in school, and I couldn't understand why we were trying to get computers to mimic minds that we didn't even work on or look at ourselves. So I just dropped all of that and became a nun, and I think I'll just stop here.
Function, I came from Calgary, one of the branch monastery of the U.S.A. I was raised in Malaysia, and I left the home life for 25 years. The first time I met the delegation of Venerable Master Hoa to Malaysia was in 1988. Once I saw them line up going to the hall, they are awesome deportment of monks and nuns. I made a vow that, oh, this is so wonderful. I want to be part of them. So sure enough, the next year, 1989, I enrolled in Proper Dharma Buddhist Academy in Taiwan. Once I was with the nuns and laicties who prepared to live the home life, I felt like at home. So that kind of a simple life and harmony in the group, I felt like this is part of my life a long, long time ago. And then in one of the occasions, one day, when the few women lined up, prepared to leave home, once I saw the master shave the hair of the few women, my tears ran down without reason. And then a few minutes after the shaving ceremony, my tears stopped. I didn't know why. And then after some time, one day when the nuns having recitation of the Bodhisattva precepts, that's called the Brahmanet Sutra, once I took the sutra text, my hand was shaking. I didn't know why. And then after 2 years in the Buddhist Academy, I already get used to the lifestyle and the environment of doing practice in the monastery. And then I knew this is the mission that I want to go forth. And then I became a nun in 1990 and came to the United States in 1991. Throughout my years of training, my senior monks and nuns have given me a lot of opportunities to learn and grow. So most of my time, I am servicing in branch temples. I am currently actually living in Calgary. It has an expanding project going on, and I am overseeing it, working with all volunteers and bhikkhunis. So my role is to support and help the projects and also the nuns who are living with me. So I also train managers to manage the temples. Like all my senior monks and nuns train me to become managers since 1990s. So I think this is a wonderful service that we can offer to all communities.
Venerable Dharma friends, good morning. My name is Yi. I was born and raised in Taiwan, and I have become a nun for 22 years. I'm glad to meet you here. When I was about 19 or 20 years old, I was very confused about my life. I don't know what I was going to do after I graduated from college. That was the time during 1990s when the whole world was going through tremendous social, economic, political changes. And later I came across a big group of monks and nuns. Many of them were pretty young. And then at that time I only had very shallow knowledge about Buddhism. Actually, I had no idea what this group of monks and nuns, they were thinking, they were eating, how they lived their life. But somehow, I was quite inspired by them. And I couldn't explain what urged me to want to become one of them. And later, 1 year later, on my way to the monastery, I mailed out the letter I wrote for my mom. I'm pretty sure that by the time she received the letter, I was already shaved. Okay, that's it.
And friends, my name is Han Zhao. I was born and raised in Taiwan. I have been a churchgoer since I was 4th grader. Because back to that time, there is a big Catholic church next to my parents' house. And to me, the church or the temple is the most good and safe place for me as a youth to go without my parents. So I spent many of my Sunday afternoons in the church. After 1 or 2 years, a classmate of mine, she gave me a booklet. It talks about the Guan Yin Bodhisattva and with the compassion and also about the mantras. So I wasn't quite sure how to do it because I never got to see any monks or nuns. But because I had experience in the church, so I kind of knowing how to just chant or recite by myself. So I think because the mantra is also the mantra is from the sacred text or language. So I got some feeling. So I just very soon I decided to become vegetarian myself. I was only 5th grader. Of course, my parents, they were not happy. They were so worried. They tried to discourage me to do so. But I still, make it. I think after 1 or 2 years, I still did not get a chance to meet with monks or nuns or Buddhism to teach me how to continue the practice or learn more deeply. So I discontinue this practice because I was going to junior high and middle school, high school, and college. So I have to focus on my academic studies. So after I graduated from my college, major in business, I got a very good job in the bank. So I was pretty satisfied whatever I got. Because I'm kind of missing the spiritual world. So I try to find some time for myself. A friend of mine gave a book. It's about 3 steps, 1 bomb. I read 2 monks did a long journey of pilgrimage, more than 1 year. So
the only purpose for doing this is for praying the world peace. I was so deeply moved by this, and I was thinking, oh, I never learned this in the business world. And so, fortunately, my another friend took me to the temple, which is our branch temple in Taiwan. So when I went there, so I saw, oh, there's, they have the ceremony there. So I began to learn some Buddhism and ritual things there. So I would like to mention one major point. Right before I decided to leave home, I got promotion in the bank, which the position was my dream. So I never expect I can reach that level so soon. But nevertheless, I still made decision to become a nun. Right after I became a nun, I had some awakening. So I just realized the reason I got promotion for that position is not because my skills or my capability. Basically, it's the 6 principles I've learned from our master and the Buddhism, which are no fighting, not to be greedy, not to seek, not to be selfish, not to pursue personal advantage, and no lying. Amitofo.
Thank you.
Hello, Ajahn and my name is Jin Xiang. I'm originally from Burma, Myanmar, and as you all know, it's a Buddhist country. And how did I become a nun is actually after many years, after emigrating from Burma, Myanmar, and I went to school on East Coast and then went to college. And after graduating from college, I got a job offer in Seattle. So it took me from Los Angeles to Seattle. And then after a couple of years, I was living in my apartment, and somebody knocked on my door, and then he was trying to discuss about religion, and he asked me one question, and what religion are you? And I said, I'm a Buddhist. And so after he left, and it occurred to me that I didn't know what it means by Buddhist, practicing Buddhism. And so I started to explore Buddhism. And so the time was right, you can say, because I was trying to look for a temple. And I looked up in the yellow book. I didn't find any Buddhist temples. So one day, because I subscribed Saturday newspaper, so as I was looking through, there was a religious section, and there was just a tiny section announcement saying that there was 10,000 Buddhas repentance ceremony at the Gold Summit Monastery. So I went there, and that's how I found out about all the different Buddhist texts. And since I'm from Burma and Chinese is not my main language, and so, but luckily there were books in English, and I bought a book which Dr. Zhao mentioned, a book on 3 steps, 1 vow. It's a peace pilgrimage by 2 monks, bound from Los Angeles to 10,000 Buddhas, city of 10,000. Buddhas in Ukiah, west of San Francisco. So I discovered that Buddhist practice is actually simply working on the mind. So that was quite a discovery. And so I continued to go to the temple on weekends. But things didn't really happen right away for me to enter monastic life. It took me some years. I tried to look at different Buddhist traditions, and I went to retreats, weekend retreats. But after a while, it still did not occur to me. I still felt unsatisfied. There was no fulfillment, and my job was not really fulfilling. I was working as a test engineer at Boeing, and even though the job was good, it was secure. I mean, good. It was a good job in terms of money, but it didn't fulfill me. I didn't find it meaningful. So, and then so retreats were not enough, and money was not enough. So after some years, I slowly deepened my aspiration and practice, and then slowly I made the decision to quit my job and went to stay at the temple about a year, and I moved to the main headquarters to the city of 10,000 U.S. and became a monastic, and that was in 1990.
Fellow cultivators, venerable ones, and friends, my name is Jen Grower, and I have a very different story from the other nuns, being born in America. I was born in Oxford, Mississippi. My parents were poor cotton farmers. I managed to get to college, and then I began to travel. I became married to a movie maker, moved to New York City, and lived a life in the village as a bohemian. And that meant cocktail parties, drugs, whatever. But I actually became a puppeteer, and I worked in the Marionette Theater in Central Park for many, many years. But this life took a toll on me, and my body and my spirit waned, and I became very, very ill. So a friend says, well, try vegetarian, try acupuncture, try Ayurvedic medicine. So I did. Okay. So I tried all these different methods, and my body healed. But my spirit didn't heal. And so I thought, well, actually, I should be a healer. I should return the kindness of those who healed me, and I should study healing. So I studied acupuncture, I studied Ayurvedic medicine, and I began to work as a healer. And at that time, I had the opportunity to visit the city of 10,000 Buddhas. And I met the master, and I went to one of his talks. He said, you know, if you really want to have wisdom, you must recognize your faults and change them. And this touched my spirit. I thought, oh, so simple, how wonderful. I met the nuns, and they touched my spirit. I saw the beautiful trees, the ground, the sun, everything in the valley of Ukiah touched my spirit. So I became a volunteer teacher at the schools for 17 years. I got my master's from the university, and my spirit began to grow. And I really, really wanted to become a nun. But I had put my parents through so much. I thought, one more weird thing, one more strange thing, one more thing they don't know anything about would break their hearts. So I did not become a nun until after my father died and then my mother died. And after my mother died, my sister says, you know, my mother always wanted you to become a nun before she died.
So, good morning, everyone. My name is Jing Jing. So I'll tell a little bit about my conditions in entering the monastic life. After I'm originally from Taiwan. I was born there. My family moved to the Caribbean in Central America when I was 15. So I went to an American high school in a Spanish-speaking country. So please don't ask me if I speak Spanish. I haven't spoken it for 25 years. I don't claim I speak any Spanish except "Como estas?" That's all I know how to say, or I remember. So then I came to the United States to receive higher education. After I graduated from college with an information system degree, I went to work for an IT consultant firm for about 8 years. And during that time, I encountered Buddhism. So I started to learn Buddhism. I wanted to open my life up for other possibilities. So then I was going to the monastery on a weekly basis. I go to their Sunday service every week for a few years. So one day afternoon, but then when I was working, I was working really hard, trying to make my parents really proud. So I was getting a lot of promotions every year, and I was getting fed raises, 15, 18, 20% all the time, twice a year. So there was a sense of craving to perform on my job. And so I was working and seeking for promotions, seeking for really good raises. But then there was a sense of unsatisfied feeling. I was not very happy because I complained all the time. And so one day I went to the monastery. It was after lunch, and this Dhamma master, this nun I went and talked to, and she looked so radiant and so happy. So I asked her, Dhamma master, what makes you so happy? And she said, I had coffee at lunch. And I thought, I had coffee every morning. Why am I not happy like her? And I realized that they took something so ordinary and so simple, and then yet they were so content. So I became really curious as to what are you actually learning and studying? What do you do at a temple that makes you so happy? I want to be part of it too. So I got even more curious eventually. I was supporting my sister going through a master program, getting her physical therapist degree financially. So I waited until she graduated from her master program, saved up a little bit of money. Then I moved to the city of 10,000 Buddhas and lived there for 2 years. But during the 2 years of training as a lay person, I also encountered a lot of tests, a lot of reflections. You work with people. I always need a lot of space, and just feeling that being in a room with a lot of people made me really stressed. And so it was a lot of reflection. It was a lot of examine myself, what is going on in my mind. And then so one day I thought, okay, I definitely want to enter the monastic life, because I want to have a sense of freedom and happiness like the nuns who were showing me. And so, but then I thought, okay, but before I enter the monastic life, there seems to be so many restrictions. So I want to do a few things I really want to do before I became a nun. So I thought, I've never been to China. I really want to go to China. I want to go to different holy mountains and visit different temples. And then after that, I can enter the monastic life. So I called up, make my itinerary, make reservations, and then I was happy. So one day afternoon, I was sitting there reading commentaries and instructional talks given by our teacher. And so as soon as I opened the book, it says, I had this one disciple who always wants to play. She never managed to memorize any sutras or apply really good practices. All she wants to do is go out and play. And I was like, oh, maybe he's talking about me. And I thought, maybe let's not go to China. So then I stopped my trip and really just focused on working my mind to stop the monkey mind wondering too much, always seeking outside. There's always an unsatisfied thirst. So then I really decided to just return that light and just work on myself. So that's my condition of entering the monastic life.
Honorables and everyone, good morning. My name is Han Yuan. I am Vietnamese American, so I was born in Southern California and I moved up to Northern California. I've been in California all my life. This is the first time I've been to another state in the United States, so I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm actually from California to Utah. I passed through 2 other states, so not 2 states in one day. It's really exciting. I was really sick a lot, often when I was a young child. I'd go in and out of hospitals, and I even skipped a grade. Well, stayed home a whole year because I was getting sick all the time. And to me, my security was what my parents said, what my parents told me. They were my savior when I was young. And so when I was sick, when I felt like I was dying, I couldn't make it through, I would always ask my parents to help me, but they would tell me they couldn't help me. And that really scared me. I still am pretty frightened of death. And it wasn't until my father was able to travel, and he went around to different monasteries. And we're Vietnamese, so we went to Vietnamese monasteries, but I never saw the attraction there. It was very tiring. And he had a Chinese friend, and so they made the pilgrimage up to Northern California because they heard about this wonderful place called the City of 10,000 Buddhas. And people come to the City of 10,000 Buddhas for so many reasons. My father's friend actually came because he heard there was some miraculous things happening there, like dragons coming down and like angels. And so he came back, and when my father came back, he was so happy. But my father's friend, he was very disappointed. He didn't see any dragons or angels or anything. But my father said, the City of 10,000 Buddhas is so wonderful. It's like a paradise. And there's a school there. I want to raise my children at a monastery. So he moved the whole family to the monastery, and I remember the first time coming to the City of 10,000 Buddhas. I got out of the car, and I remember, when you're growing up, people ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. But when I came out of the car, it was just around noontime, and from the distance, I saw a line of nuns. There was actually a line of nuns, and they were chanting. If you came to our panel earlier, we were chanting recitations, and it was very similar to that. They were just chanting really simple Buddha's name, filing to the ceremonial hall for a lunch ceremony. And I don't know why, but at that moment, the thought came into my head, that's what I want to be. And I stayed at the City of 10,000 Buddhas for about 1.5 years. And there was a chance where there was a lot of young boys and girls who were going to enter the monastic life. And so me and my younger sister, I actually have one sister, we signed up too. And so I was and of course, my teacher was very inspiring. I didn't understand Chinese, but that didn't stop me from feeling really close to him. He only spoke to me several times, but made big impressions to me. Me and my sister are still monastics to this day. I've been in them for 21 years now.
Hello everybody. Hello Venerable Masters. And my name is Jing Lian. I was born and raised in Shanghai, mainland China. And I was an engineer, a chemical engineer there. And later I emigrated to Canada. I changed my major to accounting. So basically you can see I'm a scientific person. I'm not a religion. Actually religion is like an irrelevant word to my life.